Okay, so welcome everybody to Minecraft Part 3. If you didn't watch the first two parts, links are in the description. And let us go. Right now I'm trying to get some music while I play. By the way, it did not go that fast. I wasn't able to turn it down that fast. It actually was so laggy, but I'm just glad I didn't catch it. But anyway, here we go. Minecraft Part 3. After this loads, what I do in this episode is I collect a lot of wood and I organize my stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, happy Saturday, January 5th. And if you guys are following my Twitter, I doubt it, but if you guys are following my Twitter, it's my dad's birthday. I almost called him my grandfather. But nope, it's my dad's birthday. He turned 48 today. He's a two-time cancer survivor. He's the 2 years he survived cancer were in 1967 and 2008. And in 1967, I think it was either 67 or 68. I think it was 67. But anyway, when he survived cancer the first time, he was only 3 years old. Can you believe it? And you know what his options were then? His options were either die or become a lab rat. Chose lab rat. He lived. It's amazing. But what's going on right now is I gave him my card, and what I added in the card was a little joke that's going on. Alright, so if you live in North Carolina, you probably know about Cameron Village. Skylar, you probably know about it if you're watching this, but yeah, so we were at Cameron Village at a time 2 years ago, and you know the beeping they have on the crosswalks for blind people? Yeah? Well, me and my dad got in an argument. He says he never did this, and so does my brother, but what I say he did was he, oh, see, look, I can't pick that up. I'm like, I need that. I can't get it. Anyway, so what happens is he says something about it being for deaf people, and I'm like, no, it's for blind people, and then we just go on the argument. And you know the classic argument, you know, where you go, it's yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, no, yes, oh, because you always want to say the opposite of what the other guy's saying. So, me and my dad were doing that, and then he suddenly said, for blind people, for deaf people. So now, every time we go to the K&W Cafe at Cameron Village, we hear that, and he goes, for deaf people. I included that in the card, right? And also, I will show you guys something. I will show you guys something later in the day when I actually do it. But I also drew him a picture that I like, a picture that I usually like to draw. It is. I will. You know what? I will show you the. Alright. Yeah. So one day in first period I was bored. And there was nothing going on, so what I did was I drew the faces of World War II. So basically, I drew a guy from Russia, a guy from Japan, a guy from Italy, a guy from Germany, a guy from Great Britain, a guy from Canada, and a guy from the U.S. So what I added on the card was the picture of the U.S. guy, because really, I think my dad looks like the guy, and I try to pick this up again, and it's like, no, I don't want to go with you. I'm like, why? I love you. No. Sorry, I'm checking my email. Alright, so what happened was, so I drew the guy, and I drew him smoking a cigarette, because my dad smokes, and he was trying to quit before 2008, and then after he got cancer, he's just like, I'm not gonna live that long anymore, you know. So I might as well just not try to quit. I know I know every adult in here, every adult or kid in here is saying like, but you should always try to quit smoking. Okay, first of all, he's been doing it since he was in his teens, so it doesn't really. I mean, if he would have gotten, he would have gotten a sickness by now. And right here, I can't get in my house. I can't get in because my laggy computer. I've looked up things. It says increase your Java to move your Java to high. It doesn't work out. Okay, so yeah. Anyway, so my dad was trying to quit, and once he got cancer that second time, he just was, my body's already withered down. His body's basically like the pit of a peach or apple, or the core of the apple. That's all that's left, basically, of him. You know, and you just drop it and it snaps. That's what could happen to him. But he's I'm just gonna say this because he is. I love him for it. He's a tough motherfucker. Alright? But the one thing I ever regret about ever doing with him is one time. Just once. He bought us boxing gloves for me and Addison. Whenever we were mad, he'd just throw us in the backyard, lock the back door until one of us was either on the ground or the other one was running like a baby. Usually I was the one running like a baby because I was 9. But so one day he opened my door, threw gloves in my hands, and goes, "You got 15 seconds." And I'm like, "For what?" And he goes, 10. And I'm like, ugh. So I throw the gloves on, and then he starts punching at me. When I was 9, I was scared to hell of him. That's the one thing I ever wish. I wish I could have showed him I actually could punch. Because later that year, he was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer. If you don't know what colon cancer is, the colon is, here's how I'm gonna describe it. The colon is basically your asshole, right? So here's what my dad thinks happens. So what happened was that my parents went to the mountains, right? And my dad was taking some medication. And for a second I thought that said Oreos, sorry. I'm not really going to talk about the gameplay, just letting you know as I continue. But yeah, so my parents went up to the mountains. One of my mom's friends, she owns a little cottage up there. And she gave them the keys for a week, and then they went. 3 days later, they come back, and we're like, "What are you doing back? You're supposed to be there for a week." And they're like, "While we were there, the medication your father was taking." This is my mom talking to me. The medication your father was taking, I think it caused him to shit blood. They said poop, but I think it caused him to shit blood. And then they went to the doctor, and there was a lump in there, colon cancer. They checked it out, stage 3. A few months later, he's in the hospital. Alright, and what they do with colon cancer is, you know how your digestive system, it has the large intestine, that's where the crap goes through? Well, what they did was they cut a hole in the left side of his stomach, right? And they removed his large intestine from his basically asshole, and they moved it to the hole in the side of his stomach and sewed up his ass. Right? There have been some advantages though. One, handicap parking. yeah, I know. You guys are probably like, "But you're gonna abuse it, blah 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 blah." My mom only ever uses it when my dad's in the car, and my dad only uses it when he's in the car. But another advantage is you know how like when you go to a public restroom, you see all the crap in the seat, and you're like, "Oh, I do not want to sit on this." That is the good thing for my dad. He doesn't have to. Yeah, he has a colostomy bag, and that's where his crap goes. One of the funniest things that's ever happened with his colostomy bag is one time when we were heading back from Harris Teeter, right? A Harris Teeter up the street. We like look at the moon, and it is so bright, so beautiful, and we're like, "Wow, look at that!" And then it was the poo going into the colostomy bag. We're just like, "Papa." That's what we call her. That's what we call our dad. My parents don't like to be called mom and dad. They like to be called mama and papa. Anyway, so thanks for listening to me talk about my father to you guys. Please like the video if you hope his next surgery goes well, which is later this month, and leave a comment if you want him to have fun on his cruise right before the surgery. They're going on a cruise later for his birthday, so yeah. Subscribe, comment, like, fave, and bye bye. Bye. Bye.